Let's see. And we're live. We're live. The same we're live. All right. We're live. Move this over here. Salam. My name is Mustafa. This is Sabr Path. I am a game developer. I have experience in the game industry. I've worked at Treyarch during the development of Black Ops 4. I was doing administrative work. Then I moved on to an indoor cycling company. It was more of a software, was software as service (SAS). We're working on like a massive multiplayer indoor cycling game compared to Peloton. I did QA for them, and then I've done some independent work. I have one game on Steam under Sabr Path, Nexus Defenders. It is a what is it? It is a tower defense game, narrative driven, and I'm trying to get back to work on Beware Tomorrow, which is a first person stealth horror themed game. I've done a year of lecturing at community college. I've taught game testing, intro to game development and design, and I've taught graphic communication, which is a graphic design course. So that's my background. For those of you who are new to the channel, and also for if you're also new, you can always skip ahead to the main topic. If you're here for the main topic, you always skip ahead. There should be timestamps below. I add them after the video is done recording. And what else? What else are we talking about? Oh yeah, as far as the channel goes, I talk about gaming related topics, and I try to give my my opinion, my analysis on situations, on problems, etc. So that's what Sabr Path is about. If you're new to the channel, anyway, so this week, main topic is going to be Matthew Ball's 2026 State of Gaming report. He does a very I guess this is like the third one he's done so far. He does a very intensive breakdown of metrics on the game industry, and we'll go over some of it. It's very in depth. We're not going to go over the whole thing because the slide is like 167. Yeah, 100 his presentation, 167 slides. So we'd have to go through them like pretty quickly if we want to look at all the slides. But just to give you an idea, we're not gonna go through everything. We're just gonna try to cover some of the main points that he covers in his slideshow or his presentation. And what else? I guess I'll just talk a little bit as the chat populates, as people get their notifications and are told that I'm live. Yeah, so started a bit later than I was planning to. I was already going to be a little later than usual. I thought I'd get home by 11:30 and be ready to start recording, but apparently the dentist appointment took a lot longer for my son than I expected it to. I just didn't know how long it was going to take, and I underestimated how long it would take. But we're back home, and my wife had to run out and do some stuff. And while she was doing that, I was trying to prep myself for this by looking through those slides. There's just so many slides. There's too many slides to look at. I did listen to Matthew Ball explain some of his major insights on it, but we'll take a look and discuss, share our opinions. I don't think there's anybody. Is there anybody in the chat right now? No one's in the chat right now. That's fine. Let me move the chat over here. I'll move that over there, and that way I can discuss. The last video was going off for a little bit. Or the last, not the last video, the last live stream. Last live stream was getting some views, but then it just suddenly stopped. Like I got like 300 views, which is actually really good numbers for live stream. Yeah, 363 views. Um, Usually my live streams, don't even get to 200. So I thought I was gonna get somewhere. I think mainly because I used streamer names for tags such as Asmongold and Hassan Abi, which usually if you use other YouTubers' names, then they're gonna do better because it's good search engine optimization. I think a couple of people were like trying to defend Hassan Piker um in the comments saying like, "Well, hey, why? He's not a gaming YouTuber." Yeah, okay, he didn't. I understand that his his origin story isn't from gaming. He came from the Young Turks, but the reason why I brought him up is because he's relevant to the discussion of last week. He's one of the top streamers on Twitch, and Twitch is a gaming platform. It is as a gaming audience. The audience are gamers. You're not gonna see boomers who are not gamers show up on there. Yeah, you'll see some boomers, but for the most part, the audience are gamers that show up to Twitch. One, two, uh, he does play games sometimes. Like I know at least he was sponsored by Ubisoft to play what's it called, Assassin's Creed Shadows. So yeah, he does play his games sometimes. But I do want I understand he's not a gaming YouTuber. But three, the major point as to why I brought him up is because he is one of the main reasons why a lot of gaming YouTubers with opposing views will talk about politics, especially geopolitics, because they want to oppose him. And one thing that I wanted to mention last week that I didn't mention is that a lot of these gaming YouTubers who don't know anything about geopolitics, they will look at Hassan Piker's view on something and they will just go for the complete opposite and think that is right only on the basis that they take that everything Hassan Piker says is wrong, which is an incorrect way to come to conclusions. That is a terrible way to come to any conclusion. If you say, okay, if this person has this conclusion, the complete opposite needs to be the right thing. That is a terrible way to come up with any conclusion because first of all, not everybody is wrong about like 100% of the issues. Some people can be wrong about like 80% of the issues, but then they might be right about 20%, although they might not understand how to articulate and convey why that is right. They still might have the right, you know, they might be on the siding with the right thing. In addition to that, it's in reality we don't have like black and white options when it comes to the things going on in the world, especially with geopolitics. So there is not only two options. There can be like tens of options. So when you look at somebody like Hassan Piker and you say, okay, I don't agree with him at all, that doesn't mean the complete opposite is the right thing. It might be something in the middle somewhere. There can be a wide range of different options and views that might be correct. But that's the reason why I mainly wanted to bring him up last week is because he's relevant to the discussion. I mean, I did forget to mention that last thing that I wanted to that I just said right now that I explained. But um, that's the main thing that I wanted to mention. And I guess one quick life update before I get into the main topic. So I did have the interview with the place. I'm not going to say which place it is, because I don't want to dox myself and ruin my. Some people they want to reach out to the employer and be like, hey, this Mustafa guy, he says some crazy stuff online. Let's cancel him. I don't want to like put myself in the position where people reach out to my potential employers and prevent me from getting jobs. So that's the one major reason why I don't want to tell where I'm getting an interview. But I did have an interview with this place. It was kind of confusing because the recruiter, the staffing agent, she reached out to me and she gave me the description of the job, and it was basically like coming up with presentations, kind of like come up with pitches for the different games that they want to work on, and then whatever games um, get greenlit, then I make marketing material for that game. And she called it like a developer position, a game developer position. um, so I was ready to start talking games, and then the day before the interview, I get the job description. She sends me in an email the job description, and it was very different. It was about making, it was still making presentations, but it was training material, making PowerPoint presentations and videos. And so I was really confused about that. She set up a call with me an hour before the interview just to make sure that I'm prepped for the interview. And what ended up happening is she set me up with two different interviews for two different positions. The game developer one hasn't been finalized yet, so they're waiting on the description and the responsibilities to be set for that before I get interviewed for that. But they just interviewed me for another position just because my skill set fits teaching, because I've done teaching as well as um, the multimedia. So that's why they interviewed me for that. But anyways, she told me I was supposed to know by yesterday if they're gonna move forward with that interview. I didn't hear anything yesterday, so I don't know. Maybe I'll hear something today, but I should know something soon as to whether they're gonna move on, because the interview was a very introductory thing. But if that doesn't work out, then I should have the other interview with the second position, which is more gaming related. But yeah, that's the life update real quick. And Sarvanan, hey, how's it going? I appreciate you in here. I appreciate you showing up to this late live stream. But you just hit right on time. I'm about to start the main topic like now ish. How many minutes? We're about 14 minutes in. Let me mark this. 14 minutes main topic. 14 minutes main topic. All right, let's get into this. Save, and then let's get this on the screen. Let's get this on the screen. Where we at? Scene? Nope. That. All right, let's get this. Share screen, transition. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is Matthew Ball's State of Video Games in 2026, or Growth, and Where to Find It. So let's get into this. So there's some. These are the main. Let me take a screenshot of that. Let me do this. Let me take a screenshot of this so I can have it on the side. Yeah. Okay, now you can go over here. All right, I'll just put that over there so that I can reference that whenever I want to skip to some, the next section or something. Um, but anyways, so the first section, spending growth, but more retention and margin struggle. So basically, what we're looking at here is the sales. I mean, when we look at this growth charts, we have to keep in mind that this is the COVID bubble right here. This is when everyone was in lockdown and people were spending more money, and spending more money on entertainment because they're locked at home, and also that's like right before the last recession when all the economy took a big hit. So as he's shown here, we have mobile, PC, and console, and all three have been growing. They've grown this past year. Fortunately, 2025, as with years prior, boasted several new hit franchises and studios, while many older franchises and studios achieved new heights. But despite 3 straight years of industry growth, a new record high for revenues, and smattering of new hits each year, private funding for game makers fell another 55% in 2025. One thing I find interesting about his language is he says game makers rather than game developers, because usually that language isn't used like that. People don't usually say game makers. The major game maker also continued to whittle their portfolios, canceling even more their pipeline in 2025 and shutting down score of still operating titles. Oh, so I'm assuming he says game makers because when he says game makers, he's also saying publishers as well as studios. So that's why he says game makers. But as you can see here, all these games got canceled. Tons of games got canceled by large publishers. And so one thing that he mentions in this section is that despite the money going up this past year, they're not exactly what was the thing? They're not exactly it's not exactly going towards the developers. For one thing, the studios aren't making more money, and another thing is you have to account for inflation. So even though they're making more money, the inflation kind of offsets it too. So in some video game industry overall continued its restructuring and retreat despite revenue growth. So here's some headlines. So private studio and publishers funding fell another 55% by dollars and deal counts. Even more games and studios were cut outright or had budgets cut. Another over 9,000 layoffs following 35,000 from 2022 and 2024. Did we skip that one, or is that an upcoming? I think that's an upcoming one. Yeah. Oh, this is the layoffs. So the layoffs, as you can see, the layoffs in 2024 were, huge, but still pretty bad. I mean, it's still like more than 2022. It's comparable to 2023, but still lots of layoffs. Hiring further concentrated in lower cost foreign markets, and even greater share of new content investments went outsourced. So this one's showing that. So when he says content creators, I think this one he says. But anyway, so he mentions money going towards creating content. He specifically talked about the budget towards making the game, the content of the game, not to be confused with saying a content creator like a social media influencer. When he says a content creator, he's talking about the person or developing content. He's specifically referring to the developers making the actual game rather than as opposed to paying for like the administration team, the marketing team, the IT team, etc. HR. Yeah, that is massive on 2024. And then finally, as an even greater share of new content investment went outsourced, which like Ubisoft is like the king of outsourcing all their work. Um, So in 2025, content investment as a share of net revenues, 7-year low from 2022. Annual content spend was $11 billion, so it's up 39%. Um, let's skip to the part where yeah, okay, there we go. Let's go here. So Chapter 2, Why Growth is Scarcer Than Headlines Suggest. So here's some headlines that he wants to go over. So China is eating the video game industry, which we're going to go into that in a bit. Net growth in console is growth in platform subscriptions. Brightest in PC is only just, or brightness in PC is only just enough. Roblox is stealing shares, decline in home markets, industry competition is growing, but appetites remain unchanged, and price increases are helping drive growth. So China, as we're going to see here, China is growing. They're the main region that is, or the main country that has experiencing growth compared to all other countries. And he goes over not Chinese owned companies. Like, for example, Riot is owned by Tencent. So he's not counting Chinese owned, but he's talking about Chinese developed stuff that's made in China. And so as you can see here, like China takes up like a huge percent global growth in consumer spend in video games, and like China is always like this one over here. China's small. This is the pandemic over here. But as you can see, it takes up a larger and larger portion. Move on. China's 84% of its player spend goes to Chinese-made games. I mean, that is one reason why they are making so much money is because they have such a large population, and their own population is, funding their own games. They're buying games. They're buying Chinese games, and it makes sense because if the games are developed for Chinese audience, they are. I mean, they're first of all, it's native to their language. Like you don't have to worry about games being localized because it's Chinese. Secondly, from what I understand, like in China, they are limited to how much video games they can play, and so there's probably control over like which games they're allowed to play too. Um, and so I mean, there's lots of factors to this, but of course, Chinese citizens are spending money on Chinese games, and right here the Chinese excluding foreign subsidiaries such as Riot and Supercell, so not even counting the non-Chinese but Chinese owned. Um, this is massive. Like how much they're spending. Like almost completely. Like just a minority of them are not using or not putting their money towards China. and Chinese gaming companies' share of China spend. So, Chinese game makers have also grown their annual share of non-China market from almost 11% to 14 in 6 years. They're grabbing 24% of total non-China growth since 2019. So basically, a quarter of the industry growth is going towards just China. While Chinese market is only 20% of global player spending and only 38% of growth, Chinese publishers have captured 50% of global spending growth since 2019. Like, I mean, there could be many factors to this. One factor being that their games can be designed to be more addictive for non-Chinese audience. Another factor can be that the whole what making like attractive characters like with Marvel rivals. That's another thing. A third thing can be just making games that don't have the political propaganda, or at least obvious social political propaganda. You look at a game like Black Myth Wukong, and people are like, "Yeah, that's just a game. It's a game about a monkey dude going on a journey." And that might be enough for people that they're like, "Okay, I don't want to play this, Last of Us Part 2 remastered for the fifth time, and it has some social political propaganda in it." Personal YouTube channel. Glad you made it. Similar to Japanese gamers buying Japanese made games. If I'm understanding this, yeah, I believe so. Um, let's get going. So console has been going down. I mean, it's been going, it's gone up since the previous year, but it's going down as far as the market share. Where is he talking about this? I guess he's still talking about China, but what I was going to say is that there are more PC gamers than there are. The console gamers are going down and PC gamers are going up. But I think one reason as to why China can be doing so well with the gaming industry. I mean, this is just speculation, but China has a strong economy at the moment. Like the country has been flourishing, and that allows for more jobs. Like people who are working on game development, it might the opportunities are more open over there. That's a possibility. I'm not really too sure because over here in the United States, like gaming jobs, it's like, first of all, they don't pay as much as non-gaming software development. Secondly, there are so many less gaming jobs. So with just those two alone, plus with our economy that's just doing poorly, and as well as our dollar being inflated, there's less incentive for people to, or not only less incentive but less opportunity for people to get game developer jobs. There could be people like me who want to develop games, but we can't, and we have to try to find time in our spare time to do it. And then if you do end up with a game developer job, you might end up with a job like at Bungie, where they have like over 800 developers over there, and then you end up making a bogus product that you're just working on because you're a developer, and you really don't have any say as to like what the game is going to be. You end up making marathon, and then what are you going to do? You're just there. You're just a cog in the wheel. I know in Japan they just passed this thing recently where game developers can apply towards getting like $60,000, or equal to 60,000 US dollars, to help fund them to make a game. I know somebody who lives in Japan, and he's actually applying for it. He says he's eligible to get the 60,000, and he's working on this. He's working on a game, Luminous Nights. Maybe you guys have seen it. Luminous Nights. It's like a Kingdom Hearts like. It's a Kingdom Hearts like. So this game, Luminous Nights. Let's play this. Yeah. Play it. Yeah. So I'm acquainted with this person. I'm not gonna say I'm his friend, but I'm acquainted to this guy, and he lives in Japan, and he's working on this game that's clearly inspired by Kingdom Hearts, and because he lives in Japan, he's a Japanese citizen. He's able to get $60,000, or he's applying for it because he says he's eligible. So he's that's really nice to be able to get funding to be able to work on your game. Unlike here in the United States, you want to work on a game, you better get some other job and work full time, and then try to make the game in your spare time. And that's of course you're gonna have a hard time making games if that's how you're gonna do it. What's the chat saying? I see a big laugh. Let me catch up the chat. What we got here? Console gaming dying. Get heft consoles. Console gamers only represent 3% Chinese gamers. Yeah, so those are some speculation as to why China is doing better. I imagine that well, the Chinese government helps these at the very least helps the large corporations like Tencent and NetEase. They're not just Chinese corporations. They are like at the very least assisted. I'm not really too sure what the logistics are, if they're owned by the CCP or if they are assisted by it, but I know they get money. They definitely get money. So there's also a possibility of indies also getting money as well. And that's going to help them get more of the market share because the government's helping them. Unlike over here where the government's not helping us. Hey, Nemo Gnome. My social credit score is going down. Thanks, China. Hey, maybe if I say enough nice things about China, they'll shoot up my social credit score. Am I saying nice? I'm not really. I'm not trying. I'm not saying nice things. I'm just like saying. I'm just observing. Anyways, let's get to the. I think we talked about this segment enough. Let's go to page 43 because we still got a lot to go through. I don't want to just focus on. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see, 40, 43. Okay, there we go. There it is. All right. So this is wrapping up that last segment. So, Chinese publishers captured 50% of global spend growth since 2019. Net of platform subscription services, console spend is down. So, these subscription services such as what is it called? The Xbox Game Pass. You also got PlayStation Plus, etc., down 13%. Net decline of consoles since 2020 offsets 68% of PC growth. So yeah, that was another thing that a lot of people are shifting towards PC because they want to increase their options. And so it's not that the amount of gamers have increased drastically. It's just that as a whole, when you look at all of them, mobile, console, and PC, it's not that like the entire number has grown. It was more that there is a shift towards people leaving console towards PC. Roblox is 60% of spend growth outside of China. I mean, Roblox is a mess. Oh, excuse me. Burp just came out of nowhere. Sorry. Yeah. So Roblox is like this is the reason why so many publishers are trying so hard to capture that lightning in a bottle of live service because Roblox makes so much money. It's insane. Roblox is growing, and it's also taking players from other platforms such as Minecraft. People are switching over to Roblox. Probably, even like Fortnite, and a lot of Roblox is user created content, like the different games and servers. It's all user created. So they are making bank. A lot of my when I was substitute teaching, a lot of the students were like, why don't you make Roblox?" It's like, because Roblox exists and I can't just make Roblox. And they're like, "Then why don't you make some Roblox games?" I'm like, "I don't know anything about Roblox. I've never booted it up in my life. I can't just make a game for something that I have like no knowledge of. You gotta make a game that of I have to have some understanding of what the audience wants to like make a game. Let's look at the chat real quick. Hey, Liam in Wales. Glad you caught the stream. And yeah, live service with a message. Also, Roblox is nothing but bad. Yeah, it's nothing but bad news. Um, Adults talking to little kids, stuff like that. Bad news. Uh, PC console release are up, and also only the top franchises tend to have pricing power. So he talks about some of the stock stuff. I'm just gonna skip through these real quick. I mean, one thing to note is that let's look at it. So Roblox, the stock is insane. Um, and then Konami is actually doing well too, but they have they do more than just games. They don't really focus on games that much anymore. But if you look at the ones that are doing poorly, look at poor Ubisoft all the way down. Embracer Group, boom, boom. Get out of here, Embracer Group. Screw you. Let's skip through these. All right. Video games are losing the attention war in the market, major market 8. So the major market 8 he discusses are these 8 countries: US, Japan, South Korea, UK, Germany, France, Canada, and Italy. Then you have the rest of the world. China is ranked number 2, Russia number 9, and Mexico is number 10. So these are yeah, so China is actually larger than Japan, but these have been traditionally the major 8. Um, so let's go to the attention. So I don't have time to go through all these. This is okay. Yeah. So here's one that's interesting. Um, how is Konami so high? They do gambling. They have like pachinko machines. Like for a long time, they weren't making games for like the 2010s. Konami. A, not Q. A, Konami. Pachinko. Did I spell pachinko right? I think so. Yeah. All right, let's go. Like this is why. This is why Konami does well. Because of gambling. That's literally why. They do gamba. Yeah. Yeah. That's I mean, gambling is basically like they're just taking free money from people. That's how they're making money. Um one might argue that the loss of percent or two or three of players is not the big. Well, before I move on, so that's the reason why for like during the 2010s especially they weren't making anything. I think so. It was around the time they released that Lord of Shadows 2, Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2, and then they stopped making Castlevania games and they stopped making Metal Gear games for a while. They stopped making all sorts of games. They were sitting on all these IPs. They were making any games for a good decade, and the reason is because they were focusing on the pachinko games, and they're making them like instead of making a new Castlevania game, they would have a Castlevania themed pachinko game, and that's basically that's what they were doing for like solid 10 years, and then eventually they're like, oh, okay, we'll make games again. That's why they started releasing games like these last 5 some years. Kojima bankrupt Konami. Hey, Cosgrove, glad you made it in here. But anyways, let's get back to this. So one might argue that the loss of a percentage or two or three of players is not a big deal of a problem for the video game industry. If a player stopped playing altogether, then they probably weren't big gamers. And so, how much revenue or value is really lost? But in practice, all player loss is compounding problem. Growth can only come from greater monetization of every fewer remaining players. This can come from prices being forced up, players buying more ads, or serving other business models such as Amazon Prime, Google Cloud, etc. If players don't spend more, all new investments, hiring, raises, new games, etc., must be borne by existing players, or otherwise reduce publisher profits. So this is why they are making more money, um, despite not having more sales, because they just jack the price on everything. Not only Nintendo jacking the price of their games from $60 to $80 or whatever the jump was, $70 to $80. Um, you also have games with microtransactions increasing the prices, like Fortnite charging more money for their skins, etc. So this is a prime link to that. Individual games can only grow by stealing other games' players, playtime, or spend. An eat or be eaten market means growing one title involves shrinking one or more others. And this is the major reason why High Guard fell, because you have to compete with the other existing games, and High Guard was not a better game. It was it was meh. It was boring. Like this is something this is a key for like the failure of all these live service games. Um what's it called? Marathon that just came out. It's doing okay at right now, but it is steadily decreasing every day. Every day is a steady decrease. Not a huge decrease like High Guard. High Guard plummeted. It jumped off the high board, the diving board. But like Marathon, it's competing with arc raiders. People are happy with our arc raiders. And if Marathon's not doing something better, then they're gonna just go back to Arc Raiders. They have that they've had that time investment. They have their friends who are already in there. They spent money on the microtransactions. So why am I going to play Marathon just because it's Bungie? Is that enough reason? So the network effect, it's even harder for new games to break through. Yeah, exactly. High guard. The net effects of all games and gaming platforms are impaired, which in turn impairs the satisfaction and spending rates of all remaining players. And if some players have stopped playing altogether, many are likely playing less too. And this is a huge factor for multiplayer games, because for multiplayer games, especially player versus player games, the players are part of the content. If there are less people playing, it's harder to get matched up and start a match. And aside from that, aside from being the content, if people are dropping out because they're not interested in it, then other people will also feel that disinterest as well. Maybe not at the same rate, but eventually. Let's catch up with okay, Metal Gear 5 cost way too much to make. The lockdown cuts of the Gamba, so they went back to games. Let's see. Let's move on. So, one thing that he was mentioning, I don't know where um the slide is for that. Let me get this back up. Is it on here? Novel interaction. I think it might be in the next section. Yeah, it might be over here. Novel interaction, competitors taking attention. So, one thing that he was talking about, and I think he brings a really great point with this, is that uh, a lot of older gamers, such as older millennials and Gen X, Gen X being the ones before millennials, so like 40, 50 year olds. Um, it's getting to the point where I don't know where the slide is for this, but he was talking about how the for those gamers, when they're playing a single player game, a huge factor towards them losing interest is like they're very busy, and then once they drop the game for like maybe a week or two and then come back to it, they're lost. There's no onboarding. So first of all, the onboarding to games is a slug to get through. It's torturous for many people to get through the onboarding, go through the tutorial, learn how to play the game. It's like I gotta spend an hour just to get to the actual fun part. And then so we got that problem. But then once the player gets in, they're playing maybe 10 hours in. They stop playing for whatever reason. They get busy. They come back to it 2 weeks later. They forget what's going on. What was going on with the story? What was the last mission I was on? How do I do these advanced techniques, etc. And that results to people quitting altogether. It's like, okay, I have to play the game all over again to figure out how to do these things again. I don't remember how to do these certain moves. Um, oh, I completely forgot there's a grenade button, something like that. I forgot that there's this ability, and just that alone makes it tough for people to come back in, and that's a huge factor as to why. Well, let me get myself on the screen instead. Camera only. Just switch. Yeah, transition. And that's a huge factor as to like why a lot of older gamers quit playing these single player games. And if you look at the completion rate for single player games, on average, these single player games have a completion rate of maybe 40 to 50%. So half the play, maybe even 30%. A lot of them are like 30% completion. So in that case, when you have like a 25 to 30% completion rate, you have 66 to 75% of your um, audience who bought your game, they didn't even finish the game. And that is, that's a challenge for game developers, especially game designers who are trying to come up with the content, figure out how to keep the people interested, how to keep them challenged. And some of the later content might be pretty good, and the players, a majority of the audience never even get to it. They never experience it, and that's something I experienced myself with Nexus Defenders. Like a big portion. If I look at the, let me pull that up real quick. Nexus Defenders. So like a big portion of the achievements, the Steam achievements. If I look at those, I set them up to intentionally so that I can get metrics. I know there's other ways to get metrics from players, but I intentionally set it up like this so that I can see the metrics for my game. And as you can see, the tutorial has less achievements than level 1. So that means some people, some people skipped, maybe a couple people, 1 or 2 people skipped skip the tutorial, because the tutorial is not mandatory. You can click on it, or you can just skip it and go to level 1. And when I go down here, so these 2 are here for beating the game. And I put another achievement after. So this is before the credits. This is after the credits. I just want to see if anyone skips the credits. If anyone presses Alt F4 and escapes the game before they go to the end credits. So, yeah, like 94% of my audience did not beat the game, and that's huge. So this is one of the reasons why when people are leaving negative reviews for me on my game, so the major complaint for my game in the negative reviews, I mean, it has mostly positive, but if I look at the negative reviews, people are saying the game's too short. But like 95% of the audience didn't even, 94% of the audience didn't even beat the game. So it's like, is it too short? If 95% of the audience is not beating the game, I feel like that is a louder statistic than a handful of people saying, "Hey, this game isn't worth $5. It's too short." Anyways, just want to bring that up. So do I hear something? Okay, I do hear something. Give me 1 second. Let me switch this. Where is it? Okay, this is where it's at. That's what's making the sound. All right. Okay, yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about, oh yeah, people leaving the game. And so that's a thing that game designers are going to have to figure out how to solve. Not what was mentioned specifically was people leaving the game, coming back like a week or 2 later, and then having no onboarding, and they have no clue what to do. whether it is coming up with some sort of a onboarding system, or if it's just making the game simple enough to be able to jump back in within a minute or so. Be like, oh yeah, I remember how to do all these things. Um, because the reality is, um, gamers. I mean, as time goes by, the older generations are playing less games, and the younger generations are going to fill in the gap. And the younger generations have absolutely no attention span anymore, especially with the way how social media is like training people to have attention deficit. Like with TikTok, like you're if you don't get their attention within a second, they will swipe immediately. um so that, and in addition to all that, with social media training them to have shorter attention, um they are being bombarded by multiple things. It's now becoming more common to multitask. This is why Netflix has their thing, or Matt Damon was talking about that Netflix wants directors to make their movies keep reiterating what the plot is, so that people can watch the movie as a second screen rather than primary viewing that is second screen. And So with people trained to multitask, that can possibly affect their attention with video games. Of course, with video games it's completely different because you need to be engaged with the game to play the game. Otherwise, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna not beat the game. But there is the fact that people's attention is being reduced. So it's definitely something that game designers have to focus on. Like there's the example of which I think Breath of the Wild. What they did with Breath of the Wild is, or is it Tears of the Kingdom? Anyways, so they ended up making the game have, rather than having like 10 temples that take like an hour to, or like 3 hours to beat each temple. Rather than doing that, they made it so that you have like 100 temples, and each of them take like about 10 minutes to beat. And this way, it helps with the whole like get in and out mentality. Like get in, play a quick game, get out. And maybe more games will have to use that type of methodology, or just that type of sense to design your game for shorter spurts rather than designing your game for hey, I'm gonna come back, I need to remember what's going on. Let me get with the chat real quick, see what is going on. The lockdown, yes, got that. It's rare that I complete a game. I've only rarely done it with 4X like games. I don't think I've ever played a 4X game. Oh, I guess so. The only 4X game I played is what's it called? Civilization. If that counts as a 4X game. 4X games, they are very time consuming from what I understand. But yeah, I don't. I like to beat games, but when I beat a game, I don't really come back to it. There are very few games I play more than once because there's just too many games to play. Like I've beaten Chronicles of Riddick multiple times. Escape from Butcher, especially Escape from Butcher Bay. I've beaten that multiple times. Dark Athena, I think maybe I beat it twice, maybe. But Escape from Butcher Bay, I love that game, and that's why I beat it multiple times. I even beat it. I beat it on the hardest difficulty, but that was on Xbox. I think the difficulty. I think it's easier though. Maybe it's easier on the other versions because they added in uh like a way to make the melee countering easier because you see the shine. Oh yeah, yeah. The version that comes with Dark Athena, they made it easier because you see your weapon shine when you have to counter them. Otherwise, in the original version on the Xbox, it's rough countering. But I beat on hard. Very few games I beat on hard. Civ is a 4X. I would like to play Civilization again. All right, let me get back to this. Oh yeah, so he talks about. Let me share a screen. Am I sharing screen? Yeah, I'm sharing screen. How far am I into this? So we've been going for an hour. So about another half hour, we'll do this. But he's talking about like all these things like are fighting for your attention. So like AI apps. So the use of AI shot up, drastically once the whole Studio Ghibli trend happened. Um, like AI apps are a thing that are fighting for people's times. You got cryptocurrency. Yeah, OnlyFans is stealing people's time. Um, TikTok, like all these things are now competing with video games, especially like doom scrolling, just going through your like Instagram feed, whatever, like um all these things. And then they're like these all these like poly market, they're basically legalizing. They found a way to legalize gambling because yeah, of course they want to take advantage of weak-minded people, or people with no self-discipline, um, no ability to say no, and I mean it's a problem with our society. This is why I'm not for the idea of like, oh, if someone is an adult and it's not hurting anybody, you should let them do it. I am totally against that mentality because there are certain things that are designed to just take advantage of people. They are you have these corporations, they spend, I don't know, countless money, and they hire the smartest people who understand psychology to design these systems to take advantage of people, like suck their money out from them. And if your response is, well, if he's consenting, well, yeah, he might be consenting, but he doesn't know what's best for him. Well, like first of all, like it's he's not able to fight his vice. Everybody has vices. Some people have more than one vice, and the range of how strong a person's vice is also varies. So some people have like little control over their vices, and like if he's consenting, it's still self-destructive. This is why I hate mobile gamers. They almost all turned into gambling. Yeah, all gambling. Um, let's get back into this. So yeah, sports betting, like all this is like all these things are competing with games. And then like I don't even know what's the difference between, like he says, traditional defined video games, no money out, casino slots. I don't understand why are there casinos with no money out, and then there's casinos with, like, I mean, these basically look like the same game to me, but um if there's no money involved with this is just training people. This is like the gateway to this. The fact that well, I like the fact that he has like the same themes. Like this is Game of Thrones and this is Wizard of Oz. Um, let's where's the next thing? Oh yeah, and then he mentions that you're getting bombarded by notifications, which also is a distraction. Not is a distraction from the games, and also a reason why a lot of games don't work on mobile phone because you're trying to play. You know, you're trying to play a game. A lot more games are coming to mobile phone that looks like that look like console games, but on your phone, you're getting all your notifications. And even if notifications are off while you're playing the game, as soon as you get out of that screen, you go see your notifications, and that's a step closer to a distraction. All those games are hardly even a game, just sad. Yeah, exactly. Um, Yeah, so American men 18 to 34 are 1.4 to 2 times as likely to play video games and up to 3.6 as likely to use short form video, OnlyFans, AI, and prediction markets, the gambling. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that word on on this live stream? I should probably stop saying that word on this live stream. Anyways, all these things, like these these people are like the core gamers, and they are 3 times, almost 4 times more likely to get addicted to these things than they are to play video games. And this is why, like, um the attention is being reduced. And yeah, like, gaming is still huge. It's still a huge market, but as we looked earlier, a lot of it's going to China. The market's growing towards China. Uh, it's the entirety. If the customer don't buy into that, introduce to their kids. Yeah, exactly. Get them while they're young. I was using again. I don't know if it's a safe word though. Yeah, gamba is probably a safer word. It probably is. Altogether, men 18 to 34 are 15% of the U.S. Adult population, but 21% of mobile gamers and 29% of PC gamers. And 18 to 49, almost half of regular users of novel interaction apps and services. So, like, way more. As again, they are these. This is the target demographic for gamers, and they're more likely to get themselves into all this garbage, all this garbage. Let's see what's the next hot section to talk about, because I don't want to spend too much time on the same sections. All right, 5 biggest areas of revenue growth in video games. Uh, yeah, let's cover that. Okay, this looks very Islamic over here. Anyways, non-core markets, advertising, D2C. What was it? And alternative payment channels, external development, Roblox. Yeah, we don't need to talk about so that advertising. He's talking about how, like, the ads are in everything, and there's a high chance that uh he was talking about how you have games like, FIFA, for example, the 2K games. Um, and lots of people play those games. There's a loading screen when you get, you match up, you see the loading screen, and there's a very high possibility that they're going to replace that loading screen with an advertisement instead. Um, but let's let's focus. Oh yeah, let's go to the closing thoughts. 158. 158. External development. Roblox. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Roblox. We already talked about it. In fact, that's probably a word that get you in trouble these days. Uh, anyways, closing thoughts. As I got, like, what? How much time have been on here? So I got like 20 minutes left. All right. Closing thoughts. Let's look at his closing thoughts. Find growth. We have to acknowledge there is no video gaming industry. To find growth, we have to acknowledge there is no. Yeah, there are many. There are many, not just one video game industry. There are many ways to cut video game industry, each facing its own dynamics and sub-dynamics, and not all offer similar opportunities and adjacencies. So yeah, this falls into like finding a target audience. You're when you make a game for everybody, you're making a game for nobody, and this is a problem with these AAA games. The budgets are so large, they balloon so much that they need to have an impossibly large audience to make up for that budget, and that's leading to the games being made for nobody. And there are certain things that have universal appeal, but that universal appeal is only going to um um, gather so many people. Oh, and one thing he did mention, I don't know if he has a slide for this or not, but the one thing he was talking about was the increase of the price of RAM, and this is going to lead to people sticking with like a console longer, or try to move to PC and just try to stick with that a little longer. And if their their PS5 that they bought in 2020 breaks, it's going to be tougher for them to replace it because the prices have gone up. Like one thing that I'm predicting with the price of hardware going up is that we're going to see more games um, that are going to focus. Let me put it this way: we're going to see less games that focus on high fidelity graphics, and more games that focus on optimization and like style, having stylish graphics rather than um, high fidelity, because with less and less people upgrading their hardware, and also a less likeliness of new hardware being released, like a PS6, definitely no new Xbox. I think they are going to use this opportunity to bounce, because they're focusing on the subscription model. They're focusing on having everything be an Xbox. So Xbox wants to bounce. PS6 probably won't come out anytime soon, especially since what's the competitor? Switch 2. Switch 2 is not a hardware powerhouse. So we're gonna see more games that focus on like being more stylish rather than high fidelity. I did see that I think it was yesterday, NVIDIA announced their goofy thing that using AI to make things higher fidelity, just like putting an AI filter on top of the game to make it look better, and it just makes it look weird. The responses I've been seeing online have been very negative. Negative from people who are anti AI, like game developers, such, and also negative from non game developers, people who are like all for AI. They're like, yeah, this looks weird. This makes everything look plasticky. It just makes it look weird, and I think it's a gimmick that's not going to work in the long run. Even if there is like one or two games that end up looking good with that, the issue is that it's not sustainable, because you still have to have you use all these these data centers and cooling centers just to make the game marginally better looking, and also more uncanny. I don't see it happening. I don't see it being something in the long term. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen that hardware prices will hit the non-Western market harder? I'll bet on the more mobile games. Oh, let me scroll up a little bit. I think GoldenEye on N64 was 15 developers. Games got 2 bit. Yeah, Yeah, I definitely think it was a small. It was in the tens, definitely. Um, longer cross game gen. Let me see what was that thing called again. Let me put it up on the screen. Let me go back here. Transition. While I'm looking for this, if you guys want to do a super chat, feel free. If you don't want to, please hit the like button. Hit the like button to help boost the algorithm on this video. I'd really appreciate. That's one of the best things you could do to help the channel out. I really appreciate you guys just even being here, being part of the. Let me switch. This is the wrong Twitter account. Go to my Sabr path. And what is that thing called? Okay, DLSS 5. I think it's called that. NVIDIA. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's get this video on here. Let's pause this. Let's put this on here. Switch. Transition back. All right, so let's get this started. So here's with it off. There's Resident Evil Requiem, and then like it just look like the face looks weird. Like it just looks like I don't know, like they pasted Sydney Sweeney's face on her. Like it just looks the hair definitely looks a lot better, but it just and also when it still looks like a photo. I mean, at least the hair and the buildings, but the face just looks weird, and in motion it just doesn't look too good. Um, I think the best thing is the hair. Hair looks really good. Face looks more clear, but is it worth it? In motion, it just looks. I don't know. This one, like, is that an upgrade? Is that you let me know? Is this an upgrade or not? It makes the face more clear, but or crisp. That's the word I'm. Yeah, it makes the face look more crisp, more detailed, but that's just uncanny. And then you got this. This was like, why even do it? It was barely an upgrade. The hair looks better, but it was barely an upgrade. This looks forced in every way. That was not an upgrade. I say 5-10 years away. They needed a dedicated 5090 to run the demos. Let's look at this. Like this looks like a high res texture mod. That's all it looks like. Like you know, as I said before, you're going to have all these AI data centers and cooling plants just for the because this is not going to be something ran locally on your off your computer. This is going to be something that's done through the cloud. NVIDIA lost the plot on DLSS. But let's get back to this. What was I saying? Okay. Special thing. Okay, so let's go back. There are many ways to cut. Oh yeah, so said that some segments are growing at fraction the size of the overall market, while others are growing at multiples of it. Each subcut represents a very different share growth. The result is that different companies in the video game industry exist in very different universes and experience fundamentally different growth prospects. And I did talk about this in one of my videos. I can't remember which one, but I was mentioning that there's like a difference between let's transition back. There's a difference between um, mobile gamers. Well, there's Yeah, there's mobile gamers. Then there's AAA gamers, people who only play like full price, your Call of Duties, your FIFA, your big full price, big budget games. And then you have indie gamers. And the indie gamers play everything. Your AAA gamers, they never touch indie games. Your indie gamers, they will have the largest libraries of games. They will play the most amount of games, but they'll also uh, put the least amount of time into most of their games. Like your AAA gamer, like maybe they'll buy Fallout and spend 500 hours in Fallout and be happy with that. And then your indie gamer is like, okay, I got to play everything. So there's definitely different audiences. But what are you guys' thoughts? Let's wrap this up. We're close to wrapping up time. Let's wrap this up. Let me look at the chat. Anything I missed? Yeah, we're gonna have a much longer cross generational games. I agree with you. It's gonna be a while before the next generation. Especially with like the way how hardware is going. And I don't think this is gonna be a temporary thing. This has completely shifted the way how the market is. Um, it's another 5-10 years away as they need dedicated. Yeah. Um, but yeah. Anyways, that's the majority of that. I mean, this whole presentation is really long, so I couldn't cover the whole thing, but just wanted to try to cover some of the major things that I thought were most interesting. Some of the things that I'm able to um, analyze and give an opinion on, because a lot of um, the business end stuff. I mean, I'm not a business expert, so I can't really go into a lot of it was speculation, especially what I was saying about like why China is experiencing the growth. A lot of that is just speculation on my end, so I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. But anyways, so yeah, sorry for having this start so late today, but I appreciate you guys showing up. Um, yeah, it's always fun time to have you guys in here. What is today? So okay, next time we will be out of Shahr Ramadan. Shahr Ramadan will be over. So Eid Mubarak, early Eid Mubarak to those of you celebrating Eid. I see Lehman Wales. It's always interesting to see how the money side of industry is going. It shows what the priorities are. Yeah, yeah, and it's always insane to see like the crazy choices that these failed studios, these failed publishers are going with, especially seeing how Ubisoft is tanking and Embracer Group. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, as I was saying, for people who are fasting, early Eid Mubarak to those of you once Eid hits later this week, and next week. Let's see. So I'll do it regular time. Regular time next week. Next Tuesday, regular time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll get back to the regular schedule. All I got is my warehouse job next week. Um I'm doing interviews for jobs. Oh, and not tomorrow. When is it? Career fair on Thursday. Hopefully that goes well. So Thursday I got career fair. Um, we'll see how things go. I need work. Maybe with the downtime I might make a video on marathon. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. I'm spending more time on coding. I'm trying to get better with coding, and then after I spend some time on that. Like maybe a couple weeks of coding. I'm going to get back to Beware tomorrow, unless a new job starts up. We'll see. Hopefully, a new job starts up soon. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up. And I'll give you 100. Boom. There we go. Give you 100 in the chat. See you guys next week, regular time. And take care. Salam.